Okay, let me ask you something. You seem like you're very well rounded. I think you have like a lot of spirituality. You have a lot of diplomacy. You have a lot of just etiquette towards social environments and social causes. You're very conscious of a lot of things that are going on. If you had to host a dinner, okay, and I don't know if this is a question you get asked in pageants or not, but I'm just thinking to myself, if you, Megan, had to host a dinner and you could invite 3 people, alive or dead, who would those 3 people be?
I know the first one would definitely be Abraham Lincoln, because I'm obsessed with him. I am obsessed with him. I don't know why, but I just think because there's like this such learning about him in history and stuff. The country is in such a crisis, but I feel like he did a really good job of like seeing both sides. Although he had his firm own belief, he really brought the country together, I feel like. And of course, history books just give you the broad like overview and they touch on everything. I think it'd be really cool to hear like a personal background of everything he went through, and not only that, but how he handled his stress. Because you always see the pictures of like this president before and after, like serving, and then they look so different.
They're full
But
of
I'm
gray hair.
yeah, so that'd be cool to talk to him. And then maybe Marilyn Monroe, because I've also learned a lot about her. So I first learned about her through music and dance because we'd always dance her songs. I was like, oh, she seems cool. But learning more about her, she actually had a very tough life because she had like different abuses. She ended up abusing drugs, and just back in that era, before women's rights, I guess was a thing, apparently she was kind of misused. I don't know if that's the right word, but it would be interesting to see how she, I guess, got through life and if she could have done anything different, because there's really bad circumstances and unfortunately she took the bad route. But it'd be cool to see if maybe just talk to her, because she seems like an icon, but there's a lot of darkness to her.
Right.
So it'd just be interesting to learn about that. And then, I don't know if there's another person. Probably, Steve Irwin. So that's another one of my idols. So I actually want to maybe try to work for National Geographic. And I think I'm going to go into wildlife ecology. And he's another person who I grew up watching. And watching his show is just really cool because he was self-taught pretty much just from his family. But he had such an inspiring show. And I feel like he still has a legacy to this day. And I care a lot about the environment as he did. And it just is cool because on the track I want to go to, he's just a big idol to me. It'd be fun to listen.
That's awesome. That would be a dinner worth going to for sure.
And, the divine, it's
Right.
it's unexplainable, and so many people miss out on it. And I feel like since everyone is now stuck at home, they're like, oh, I'm so bored, this is terrible. Well, maybe you could find some time to find yourself and to work on your mental health and to talk to God and, really spend some time with him and Jesus. So I think, that is a part of God's greater plan, is he knew what he was doing. He knows people are going to be stuck at home and upset about it. And, I feel, I see a lot of things changing for a lot of friends in my life right now. They're starting to realize that there's a lot more to life than just what they've been conditioned to grow up to,
Right.
So I think big things are happening, and I think God's behind it. I know God's behind it.
One of the things I really respect about you, Cam, is your individualism. And I actually heard one of my friends kind of come back at me the other day about talking about how when you become a Christian, you lose your individualism. And I feel like that is so completely wrong. And I think more than anything, you are proof in the pudding of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you are, I mean, like there's always like this stereotype of a Christian and how they're supposed to be.
Well, yeah, and I feel like that's really just because people, like, they grow up like hearing about Catholic churches and they're super strict and like
Right.
they're all about the rules of the Bible. But with us, like, the Methodist Church is all about God's love and through Jesus Christ. We don't care about like all the rules and dressing right and looking right. So that allows for like people in the Methodist Church to really span out and like feel comfortable there. So, I grew up in the church, and that place is my second home. I'm like super comfortable there.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just really allowed me to get a relationship with God and to like, compare and contrast things. And, a lot of people shy away from Christianity because of the whole church and the whole religion thing. But the truth is you can have a relationship with God without going to church. It's just you need those people in your life who will support you on your road to finding, Jesus Christ and to having the unconditional love of him in your heart. And that's why church is so important, is because there's so many toxic people in the world who only care about themselves. And, surrounding yourself with those kind of people will hurt you and will cause you emotional suffering. So that's why church is really important in that sense. So yeah, it does suck that people think that you lose who you are when you become Christian, because all God wants you to be is who you are, and
Right.
he just wants you to use spiritual gift to help others.
Or preventative measures or anything like that, or are they going to get to that when you get there?
I think they're going to get to that when we get there, just because at this point we could also not be going
Right.
with like depending on how things go the next few weeks. But I think they're like really taking into account everything and making sure that they're choosing the best things for the kids and stuff, and making sure everyone will be safe, everyone will be healthy, and making sure that they can just keep doing camp, because camp is amazing.
Mm-hmm. What's the like the one thing that keeps you coming back to Warren Willis, and even being the inspiration for you to want to be like pursuing a being a counselor there? I mean, what is that one thing that keeps you coming back to it?
I would say just like the environment that you're in, like you get there and it's the whole like the veil's thinner or whatever, like between heaven and earth thing. But just like the environment, the way people are all so supportive of each other. Like I never know half the kids there, and yet I have made some really good friends. Like I still talk to them through like Instagram and stuff, Snapchat, and just the counselors even like going as a camper, and just they make you feel like they just I don't know how to explain it. They make you feel involved and wanted, and it's a really good environment, I think, and I really want to bring that to other kids, and making sure that they can feel that this is like a special place, and they can talk about what they need to talk about, make friends, make connections, like anything that they need we can bring to them, because I think that's a really good place for them, because there's so many different types of people, so many different people who can relate to different situations. So I think it really helps kids connect to someone who can really help them through life.
It's sad. It's great that is a place for you to feel that way and for others to feel that way, but it's sad to know that it only is confined into an environment there. You know what I mean? Like I wish the world was like that. I wish we could step outside the door and that was the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when people go up to Warren Willis and they experience that, the bad part about it is they get back here and it could be good because they could go out and make it that way. But I think the bad thing about it is that they get back to real life and they're like, oh, it's real life. I guess I have to get back into this. What is something you, as a soon-to-be counselor and as someone who has loved Warren Willis for so many years, what would be like something that you could give to your campers to tell them to go back out and just don't go back into the social norm, go back out and keep this camp going? What is like something you could give to them?
Honestly, personally, I would just tell them like some of my own life stories. Like when I come back from camp, there's definitely the camp high for a bit that lasts a while. Like you're still really involved with things, but then like that kind of ends. But going back to school and just thinking like, I met people I would have never met at camp and I would have never talked to. So why is school any different? Like telling them just because camp's over doesn't mean you have to go back to the social norms. You can continue to make connections with people. And I definitely did end up meeting some new people the past few years at school, just because I was like, you know what, I do this at camp. Like, what's the difference? It's a bunch of people I don't know. Why not make a few new friends? And making sure that the kids know that, like, even though camp ends, the whole, like, environment we can bring to places we go. And I think that definitely just like talking with them, making sure that they understand that like they will always have camp, even if it's over, just remembering it, and stuff. I think it's really important for them, and I would like to make sure that like kids understand that and feel that, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm very, very stubborn, as some may know. I do like to do things on my own, so it'd be fun to start and see where it goes from there.
You're very independent. That's why I have no qualms about you going off to college, because you're just, I mean, I think you're gonna blossom. Like you already are a entity. You know what I mean? Your personality, your drive, your independence.
Yep.
But once you are out there, man, holy cow! Watch out, world.
Let's see. It'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Hey, I would not feel right if I didn't ask you. If there was like one part in your, I guess, let's go back all the way. Let's like childhood, youth, high school, whatever. Is there a part in there where you can say that was a significant moment where I felt like the presence of God completely?
Oof. One moment. Yes, I actually can think of one. Right off the top of my head. It was, let's see. I think it was last year. It's actually our Instagram page's bio picture thing. That's when you actually told me to go take a picture, and we were all in a line, linked up arm by arm, and we used to do it every once in a while when we got really in the spirit of God, and we always would stand by each other and put our arms around each other. But I don't know what it was about that day, but it was so significant. Like, you could just feel it in the room. I mean, I'm sure you remember, you were there. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, just being around those people who have changed my life. I mean, Kiki and Quentin and Megan and Matt and the Allreds and Jenkins. I mean, everyone was in that room all together, and you couldn't help but feel the love. Like, yeah, we may fight like dogs. I mean, heaven knows we do. We get in quarrels all the time, but I mean, that's what families do. And you couldn't help but just be overwhelmed by the Holy Spirit in that room that day. And it's just stuck with me ever since. I'm so happy I took that picture.
And you know what? And the reason why I ask is because I hope you never forget.
Me too.
And I hope that it just resonates with you in your days of school and in your future. Because you know what?
That picture.
When you think about it, I that's a good just snapshot of
absolutely
what it's all about.
I went up to Nashville, Tennessee for like a different reason.
Right.
Because we went out to like the outskirts, and it just opened my eyes to what's happening. Just like literally, it could be like a couple miles down the road from you. You just don't even realize it.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is, I mean, the same thing that happens in Nashville is happening right here in our area. And a lot of times it takes people just going into a different city to be aware of that, to come back to their own city going, wow, well, if that's happening there, it's got to be happening here, you know?
Exactly.
Do you feel like when you got back that there were some things in this area that you never saw that way, and now you do see them, like maybe in the lower income areas or poverty?
Yeah, I guess for like around here, I go more out towards like Plant City area. So you see like, it's like a different kind of poverty, like with the houses. Where we went, everyone was just like in little homes, like apartments almost, but they almost have like shacks out there and stuff, some people. So it's like they almost need more help too, and we're not even reaching out because we're going other places sometimes. But
yeah,
it's also good to get out.
You're right. So, you've been in youth ministry pretty much all your life. I mean, well, children's ministry, came into youth ministry, you went through confirmation. Do you have a feeling that what you kind of took from like seeing things on mission trips and experiencing things and serving has really put you in a perspective to where you can look at things a little more even keeled and a more
Definitely, definitely. Because like you've seen the mission trips, I mean, there's been a couple of places we've gone to where some people aren't really in the best place that they could be in, and then they're still super, super faithful. And while we're sitting here on a laptop communicating with each other, so we're in a very privileged place. And those people are still, like back then when they lost everything, they were still very, very faithful. So that's one thing that I always remember, especially from the DR, is that those people down there are so joyful, so appreciative, that type of stuff, when they have basically nothing. So when we have basically everything, why can't we have a little bit of their hope?
Right. And we're dealing, I mean, as much as this is affecting us globally, it's still kind of on a level as a sort of a first world problem, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, other than this virus being here, we would be set.
Yeah,
right?
we would be
Comfortable.
normal. Yeah, we would be. Like we said yesterday, we were joking about it. Oh, the virus, that type of stuff, and then now we're all basically locked in a month later. So it's crazy.
Yeah. You know, speaking of just like moments with God and stuff like that, did you ever, like when you were flying, did you ever have that moment where you're like looking out on the horizon or something like that and just like, I don't know, feel a closeness to God? Like, I don't know, fist bump him, like, good job, man. You know, this is beautiful. I mean, did you feel like kind of overwhelmed at the just essence of Earth and what's going on, looking down upon it? I mean,
Yeah, on my cross country, we had the ability to fly as high as we could that didn't exceed um, limitations. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go as high as I can. And everybody else is like, oh, we're going to cruise at 6,500. And I went up to 7.5 and I was like, nope, we're going all the way to 8,500. And it was just looking out over, you could see the curvature of the earth, which was amazing. It was like you could see, I mean, I wasn't even that high, but it looked like you could see like or little layers in the sky and everything. The ground, looking at the ground was it was just the most amazing. Everything was beautiful. And the clouds, you could see how crisp and flat they were from there. Oh, yeah, it was just,
that's got to be a God moment, man.
I mean, it was just incredible to see that. And it was so amazing. Just, I couldn't like look at the controls. I was looking out at the entire sky. And once I did look down, I realized I fell 600 feet. I was like, oh crap. And then pull all the way back up and level out again. So, but yeah, it was absolutely incredible.
I think
love to just do that again.
I think more people should do that, including myself, because I just think we need to realize how small we really are. Mission work or ministry or whatever it is, you have the presence of God with you, and it shows. And I'm just so proud of you, and I thank you so much for just being who you are and being with this ministry.
Thank you so much. I've loved like every minute in this youth group. It's the best. It makes me sad. Like I kind of hadn't thought about like I'm done with high school. I'm also done with youth group, and that's weird.
Well, there's other things you can do.
Of course, yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, you know, to be right there in the heart of it, and yeah, I mean, it would be unfair to, you know, chain you down and, you know.
It's been a lot of fun though.
Maybe I can get like a talking sort of like stand-up thing made of you, and you can like be there in the garage for us. You know what I mean? Go, dog. My dog doesn't want you to go apparently either. So. If you could think back and just, I mean, last question, if you could think back and just and everything that you've done in youth ministry, what was like a significant point or something that we've done that really just meant a lot to you?
I mean, like the first thing that pops in my head is the mission trip from last summer. That was definitely definitely a turning point for me, for sure. Especially just that last night. I know a lot of people have a lot of good memories from that last night of the mission trip.
Yeah.
But like I just really felt like the presence of God. He was like right there. And I was like at the time, like that summer right before senior year, I'd been stressed about like career stuff. I was like, I don't know what I really want to do. Like I knew I wanted to be a teacher, but I was like, I felt like that was my only option. And that freaked me out. I was like, I don't want to like just pick the one thing that I can see myself doing. But in that last night when we were all praying, I just felt God say, you don't have to worry anymore. You don't need to worry. So I was like, okay. And you know, all the experience I had with the kids and the kids club, I was like, I have to be with kids. Like that's what I have to do. Like it's not just, I don't know, there's a reason why I always feel like I want to be a teacher. It's because I need to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So that was, yeah, that was pretty defining. That was a really good moment for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love, I was there. I was right there with y'all, and that was a really powerful moment. And you know, as a person who was kind of just, I guess, a bystander, because you know, I wanted it to be more about y'all than what I was trying to get out of it, obviously, you know, and to see that happening for you all, and to see the difference after that night in many of the students was just incredible to see. And I even noticed something in you too, because I mean, I could tell there was like a trepidation that was gone. Something was lifted out of you, and it was God working. So
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of anxiety was lifted.
yeah.
Yeah.